Right, hi there everyone. Hopefully you can see my screen and hear me okay. Um, right, so hopefully this will all work. I'm just going to go through some of the things that we think using Tapestry you'll be able to use for your home learning things, for those of you who are having to do some home learning activities. That's just after, because I've seen some of the people on the group asking questions, and I thought it's probably easier just to show you all how it all works and everything. So I'm just going to go through on our account how it all works and everything. The things I'm going to cover today are activities and how they all work, how you can create them, use the Tapestry ones, and also memos and user permissions versus splitting obs. So hopefully I'll answer your questions as well. I can see your questions coming in. Whether I'll be able to keep an eye on them, I don't know, but as always, we'll try our best to answer them whenever, any way we can. So let's make a start by, this is all going to have to be done through the browser. Activities, memos, documents, everything, they are only on the browser to create. You can view activities and memos on the latest iOS app, but not on the Android app. But yeah, that's just for viewing. So you have to create everything on the browser, which you can do on any device. You don't have to just do it on a desktop or a laptop. You can do it on your mobile phone or your tablet as well. Just go in through the browser on there. And then once you've logged in and you're in this usual page, for activities, you'll need to go up to here where it says activities. Now, if you don't see that there, it's possible that it hasn't been enabled yet. Okay, so what you'll need to do is ask a manager to go to the control panel, which they do by clicking on their name and control panel. And that brings up the control panel. And you're going to go to features. And then from features, you look for activities and you just need to make sure it's currently enabled. If it's disabled, like it is for accidents only, you'll have a green enable button, which you'll just click and that will change it. So it's as simple as that to enable it. It's the same for memos as well. So if you don't see memos in the features section, so down the control panel, second option is features. You've got memos down here. Again, just make sure it's currently enabled. And you've also got your settings, your permissions for your relatives and your staffs as well and everyone. So that's the first place you need to check if you're not seeing it out there. Hopefully though, you will see it because it should be set as default for everyone anyway when you start out your account. And you're just going to go to activities. Now, the reason activities was brought in was to try and help settings to be able to set activities for the children without it clogging up their observations, their learning journal and everything. And the way it works is it looks very similar to an observation page and it works exactly the same way, and we'll go through that in a minute. But what you will see is that up until you plan it, you don't attach any children. And also when the children reply or the parents reply, it starts a new observation, which is then linked to that. So we're going to come back onto that as well. So the first thing you're going to do is go to the activities, and that brings up, first of all, Tapestry's activities catalogue. That's where with the education team, we regularly put up different activities. I think we worked out the other day, there's over 150 at the moment. So there's quite a few to get you started, and we're doing, I think, a few a month now. I think we've gone down to about 5 a month, which hopefully will still keep you going and everything. You'll find some useful. And you're free to use these however you like. You can edit them. We're not precious about them or anything like that. You can filterify them by going to the category, clicking on that, and you can either look for the EYFS ones, the SEN, Key Stage 1 or Key Stage 2. So just to start with, if I go to the Key Stage 1, because they're the ones I'm responsible for, and now that will just filter all the Key Stage 1 activities that we've put on as Tapestry. You can also filter it by subject. So if I wanted a maths, English, science, foundation subject or anything else. So if I wanted an English one, filter by English as well. And these are all activities now which we think are good for Key Stage 1 English. So if you've got a year 1 or 2 class and you want to go through for an English thing, so it might be you want the shopping list, just click on the shopping list and it'll bring up what the information is in. So first of all, it's got the same as on the observation. It's got all the pictures, any videos, documents that you might add. So with activities, just like in memos, just like in observations, you can add photos, you can add videos, PowerPoints, Word files, PDFs, MP3 files, everything, you know, things like everything that you can do on Tapestry normally, you can do in an activity. So you've got the media section here. This is where your photos and videos would be. Then you've got your notes, just like in an observation, but this time I've used it to put details of where the what the activity is. So I've tried to put it with a how to do something and also what you might need. And then it also just shows you which categories it's in. Okay, so this one it says for maths and English. Okay. Now, if I wanted to use that, but I wasn't quite ready for it, if I wanted to use it a later date, what I can do is save it to our activities collection. So if I click on that, that takes it to, sorry, my internet is really slow tonight. For the first time in a long time, it's been slow. Typical tonight. So it lets you edit it. So if there was anything you didn't like about what we'd written, you can edit it. So if you wanted to, please try this next time you go to the shops, whenever that's allowed. And you can edit them. You can change as well who it's aimed at if you want. If you wanted to add any extra media or anything like that, you can also do that. So if I wanted to add another photo, sort of a photo for it, so I just add it there. It tells me it's ready to upload, and then start upload. And it's just told me it's uploaded, and now I can save it. Okay, so it's called the shopping list and it's marked as a draft, so it's not quite ready. So if I wanted to publish it as well, I can publish it. I can either publish it for staff and relatives or just for staff. I'm going to just do it for staff for today. And there it is there, all ready to go. Okay, still at this point though, I've not attached it to any children. Okay, the other thing, if I want to look at all the ones that are in my collection, I'll go to our activities collection, and these are the ones that have been saved by our setting. As always, you can either go through your categories again, but you've also got your filters. And so if I wanted to not see the deleted ones and the draft ones, I could get rid of them. So I'm only seeing the published ones for staff and relatives and staff. I can go, when were they added? The usual things like that. You've also got your hashtags as well. Okay. Then once I've done that, you can see, so these are all my ones that I've saved ready for later on at my setting. Also, if I wanted to add my own then, so if I didn't want to use any of the Tapestry ones, I go straight to our activities collection, and this button here, the add an activity to our activities collection, I'm just going to click on it here, and it brings up the same page as we were just on. So I just need to give it a title, because like with everything in Tapestry, you need to have at least a title and a child selected. But because in this section you don't need children, you don't select a child yet. I can put any notes, so take some time to read a book. Okay, and I want that to be my early years literacy, reception. Okay, and then I can add a file, so I can add my picture of it if I want, and do my start upload. Okay, I can also publish it straight for staffs in this one. I can change the author at this point as well, and I'm going to save it, and there it is, ready to go. Okay, it's a very good book, by the way, this Umar book by David Kahn. So you've got our activities collection, and then I can have a look for it there. So if I look for my one that said reading a book, there it is there, and that's the one I've just done. Okay, so now this is ready for me to set as an activity for the children when I'm ready. So what I need to do if I'm ready, if I wanted to set this reading of book 1, I'm just going to say use this in a planned activity. So I'm just going to click on that. And the page that it opens up, this is where you can then start to select the children you want to add it to. Okay, so this is where you can then choose who you want to add it to, so send it off to. So if there's a group of children that you want for this day, you want them to read a book. So I'm just going to select, so I've got my key children here. So I'm just going to select all my key children there. If there was another group as well, if I wanted the phonics help group that I've set up previously, I'm just going to select all there as well. And so that shows me I've selected 10 children there. It says, does it always use the first upload at the big pic? So on that one, it will put them in order you've uploaded it, but these arrows here, the move up and down ones, you can change the order of them there. So if I add another file, this one, start my upload. So this one, if I wanted to actually have this one first, just click my up and that would now put that one first. Okay, so there you go, that's that question answered. So now I can set, so I'll go back to where I see my children. So there's the 10 children I've selected. I've got my title. If I wanted to change the notes as well, so take some time to read a book. I might want to ask a question. Which book have you read? Okay. And here it shows that it's linked to this activity that I had in my planned one here. Okay. Then I'm just going to make it publish for staff, to relatives or children. Or if I wanted to, I could schedule it for staff, relatives and children. Now, I'm sure you've seen it in the observations, but you can also schedule it. So if I wanted to do this for tomorrow morning, so if I'm doing my getting ready to sort of get everything ready for tonight, what I can do is set it for tomorrow morning, and I want it, I'm going to click on the clock. I'm going to change it for 8:30 tomorrow morning. So when the children log in for the first time, these children will see that activity. And I'm just going to save that now. Okay, so now you can see that first picture is there, and then the title of the one that I put second is there. I can see the 10 children that were done. I can also see up here the activity is scheduled to be published to staff and relatives tomorrow morning at 8:30. It'll only be visible to staff until then. Okay, there's my notes, and here it shows me where it's linked to. So if I look there, it's linked to this this one here, which was the our activity collection. Now, when you then send it to the parents, when it's eventually published, they will be able to ask questions. Okay, so this is a bit like a comments box. And we've tried to make it obvious that this isn't where they put what the child has been able to do. So they'll be able to ask a question. So they might want to say, what kind of book should I read in this one, or whatever. It's completely, they might not. The only other thing they will see is reply with an observation. Okay, so if you do reply with an observation, now because I'm doing it as a staff member and there's 10 children tagged in it, it's going to come up with the 10 children that are tagged in it. When the parent does it, so if Abby Johnson's parent had done this, when they replied with an observation, only their child would appear in that list. Okay, so they can't add an observation for the other 9 children. They can only do it for their child. Okay, so you don't need to worry about that. Also, like everything on Tapestry, they won't be able to see the other names. They'll just see Abby Johnson plus 9 others in the activity. They also won't be able to select any other children, obviously. They can change the title if they want. So if they wanted to, they could. They can also add their notes. Additional information box might not be there, depends on user permissions. And then they can add their media, so that's where they'd be able to add their photos. So just going to add that one. So that's what they've read, say. So I can write Abby read about being an engineer. Choose the word you can spell then. There you go. So they obviously also don't get all the assessment part of it that you get. And I'm just going to leave it as that for now. And then they would save it. So as a relative, that's what they've done. Now, if I go back to my observations page, there it is. There. So there's the observation from Abby Johnson's parent, i.e. me, and this one. And I can see it's linked to an activity as well. So if I click on this, I can now see it was linked to this activity, the reading a book one. Okay, so if I go to that, if all the parents have then, if those 10 parents or 10 children have done an activity and an observation and linked it to this, in this section, I will have all the observations and it will just show me everyone who's done it. Okay. I was going to show, if I want to see who's had a look, if you go to view history, it should show you who has had a look at the observation. Obviously, because I'm going in as me, it's not going to change in that. It won't show you, but I think as long as you have done it as a relative on the browser, which you would be at the moment, unless you're on the iOS app, it will show you who's looked at it. So that was a question that someone asked. Okay, so that's the links and how to reply to it. So hopefully that's a good start for activities, and you'll find it's useful for sort of getting sort of activities out and setting things for the children whilst they're working at home. I could just see someone's asked, can you link EYFS statements to the observation? So to the activity, you can't link an EYFS area to it. What you could do is, so if I went to there, you can link one of the areas like this to it when you're creating it. Okay, but when you are looking at the observation, so if I then looked at Abby's one, if I go into Abby's one, I would be able to assess that as I would normally do. So if I thought, okay, so Abby's read that, and if they'd given me some other pointers, sort of said Abby read it independently, or something like that, I'd be able to assess it. There you go. So no, not writing. I could say they did 40 to 60, and that's it. And so now that is assessed as that observation. Okay, and it's there as well for me. Okay, so that's that side of things. So to see it on the iOS app, it will come up in the observations feed. But if they want to see them and they're not on the iOS app at the moment, they'll need to go to the activities part here. Now, one thing you can do is go to set it for your notification preferences for them, so that they are notified when you add an activity. I'll show you how to do that in a second. It will also show up here on the bell for them if they've got internal set up, and that'll take them to the activity as well. Just to double check your notification preferences, again, you'll need to ask a manager to go to your control panel, and you're going to go to settings, notifications, and you go down to relatives, and then just check which ones they are. So if I wanted memos published, immediate email, and planned activities, immediate email. So I'm happy with that. If I wanted it go to internal only, for instance, I just change that. Internal means it will just go on the bell. Immediate email, it's going to go straight away as soon as you push publish. Daily email, it just comes in through the night. And weekly email, it comes once a week through the night. So if I set it as an immediate email, remember to save your changes. And the bit that I always forget, you need to reset the notifications for all users. So I'm going to go down to my relatives, reset, and that will reset them for everyone to ones that I've just done. Hi, Joe. Sorry, I've just seen Amy just said hi. There you go. Right, so that's how you do those. Um, Next one is memos. So just like activities, you've got memos. Click on memos. Now, memos was brought in to sort of try and get messages out to families. So it might be something that you don't want to put into their learning journal. You can just do it as sort of a memo, so it doesn't turn up in their learning journals when you export it. But I've also seen people use it for setting activities and things like that as well. The advantage of using memos is the user permissions doesn't matter because it wasn't designed for you to really put children's photos. So again, just like in when you do an observation or an activity, you're just going to click on the blue add. Okay, and then you'll see here exactly the same as always in Tapestry. Select your children. So if I wanted to choose a group, so today's phonics, I'm going to click on those ones. Again, I need a title, so we're going to go on a trip. Bring your wellies. Go on a trip, can you imagine? Bring your wellies. You might want to put a photo in it. You might want to put a video or a voice memo or something like that. And then again, you can schedule it for later. So if I wanted that one to go Friday morning at 9 o'clock, I'm just going to do that. And I'm going to schedule it for then and click save. And that is how you create a memo. Once again, parents can comment on these. They can't start their own memos. They can only comment on these. As always, they will only ever see their names. So if Amy's parent or relatives logged in, they wouldn't see these 3 names. They would just see Amy plus 3 others. But if they write a comment, their names do come up in there. So the names that you use for the parents on this will be what shows up here. So if I just add a comment there, you can see it's got my name there, and it also says when it was added and I was a manager. And as a parent or a staff member, you can also do like as well. You can't edit comments. You can only delete them if you make a mistake. So if you do make a mistake, what I used to always do is copy, delete it, and then add it again. Just change it that way. Okay, so it's just that. So that's memos. Now I said about user permissions because sometimes when you add an observation, depending on your user permissions, they might not be able to see media and group observations. Okay, so if I go down to this one here, making biscuits. Okay, so when I look at it as staff, I can see all the photos and everything. We've just added this little message here as well, just to show you. So if your user permission is set to not show photos and videos in group observations, you'll see this one here. It just says media added to group observation is currently hidden for some or all relatives. If you'd like them to be able to see it, please amend your user permissions. And you just have to click on that. So we've made it really easy for you. Just click on it. Sorry, Katie, no, they can't see what you call the groups, no. So it takes you to the user permissions for relatives, and you're going to go to observations. You look for the one that says view group media, group observation media, and it says not permitted. So you just have to edit that, and I'm going to set it to permitted. If there's some relatives you didn't want to, you can use this one, set different permissions for different users. This will show you all your relatives, and then if there were any you didn't want to be allowed to do that one, you just set them to not permitted and save that. Okay, and it will show you here now, so it's permitted for all except for Alan Johnson, Helen Jones and Jenny Miller. Okay, so they're the three ones that you can. Yes, you can just split the observation. I'm lazy, and that's just extra work for me. So splitting the observation and doing what I've just done here once is exactly the same. So whilst yes, splitting a group observation does exactly the same as what I've just done here, so the parents would all be able to see it, what you have to do every time you want to do that is create the observation, then split it, and then you've got, say you've got 90 children, you've got 90 observations of the same thing. By updating your user permissions just that once, you no longer have to split it. Okay, so that's why I'm showing you that. The other thing some people have done as well is the shared child, where you have one child with lots and lots of relatives attached to it, which again works really well for some. The only thing I would be wary about for that is that all those relatives for that child are of the same level. So therefore, if one parent or one relative was to accidentally upload a photo of their child and tag the shared child, all the parents that are attached to that shared child would be able to see anything that's been shown, whether you have permitted that observation or not, because they are seen as the relative for that child, so therefore they're able to see it. So the shared child, whilst it has its a really good benefit, that is one of the risks, and that's something I've seen quite a lot. People say, oh no, the parents have been able to see everything, and it's because there's a shared child that's been tagged in this observation, and then it's sort of all the parents have logged in and they've seen it before you've even noticed the problem. Okay, just going to quickly have a look at some of the questions that are coming in. Child login, I'm going to have a look if I can go into that very quickly in a second. It might be that I go into that in another time, if that's all right. Increase the video time limit. I'm going to say no. I know Stephen is here. I think the cost implications of doing that would be then have to pass on to customers, which is something we really don't want to have to do. Voice memos. So you would just need to use the app on your device. Normally there's a voice memo app on a tablet or a microphone on a laptop or something like that, and you just save it as an MP3 and you can just upload it. Want to use plan activity to reflect a full day's worth of learning? Can we link all the activities into it? Yeah, I mean, there's no reason why you can't do a planned activity and have lots and lots of different ones. The other thing you could do though is create, if I can just show, if I go to my planned activities, just have a quick drink. If I go to my planned activities, what I can do is I can link other things to it. So I need to edit it first. And where it says links, I can link another activity. So I could then link all my activities for that day together, and that would help me see them. But for the parents, they wouldn't be able to see that link, I don't think. Can parents see each other's questions on an activity? Yes, they can. So just like they can see their comments, they can. A grid into the notes section. If you could email in the suggestion about adding a grid to the notes section, we can see what we can do. Specific groups. Yeah, I can go into that in a second. Is that the same for group obs? Yeah, so other children's names won't be viewed. So nowhere in Tapestry do children's names get viewed by the relatives that they aren't attached to. So there is nowhere in Tapestry, unless you type in their name, they won't be able to see the other children's names as if they are as a relative. So yeah, so I'll go into groups in a second. Hopefully it will be saved. everything tells me Facebook Live will be saved. So when creating memos or activities, we can schedule. However, we can't schedule observations. You should be able to schedule observations exactly the same. So if I just go to an observation, it might be though you have to be a manager if your manager has to publish them for you. But yeah, to an observation, just go to your created. When do you want it created? And then just do it on the creation date here, scheduled. Just going to do that. Save it, and it will show me that this observation is then scheduled. So you can do it for observations as well, but it's possible that you can't if you haven't got that. Always remember they're done. Yeah, scheduling only works on browser. How many memos can be saved? As far as I know, there's no limits that we've got. Best way to add weekly planning for home learning. Again, I mean, that's down to personal preference, really. I think personally, I would do each activity separately, just so that the relatives and the children can sort of jump in as and when they want to do that. So yeah, but again, it's down to how you want to do. How to split an observation, I will show you. Okay, I'd never do this because it takes too long. So I'm just going to go down to a group observation like this one, the writing. Click on the cog next to it, and then split group observation. In fact, I'm going to choose this one here, making biscuits, because it's got more children. And so when you do that, you can split it into one observation for each child in one go. Okay, so this would split it. So there were 4 children in this one, I think. And you can split it into 4 observations, it tells you there. Or if I just wanted to split one off for Abby Johnson, just click that and split ticked. And now that will create. And for the other 3 children, there it is there. So there's the one for the 3 children that was originally there, and there's the one for Abby Johnson, which I can then edit. Reading in different languages, I think that's really going to be a plugin for their browser. I'm not yeah, we haven't got any translation service on Tapestry. Does it go into planned activities once it's been published? So the observation that they reply to goes into the observation section. So but it's linked back to the activity. Okay. And second name seen by group. So again, no names are seen by parents, not even the first names. Finding memo parents. So again, if I add an activity instead of a memo, will parents get a notification on the app? Again, it depends on your notification settings, but if you set it to internal, they'll get it on the bell in the app when they get log in, and they can click on it and that'll take them to the browser. Can you add an activity made on Publisher? I don't believe Publisher files can be uploaded, but you can export them as a PDF from Publisher, which probably would be better anyway, because a lot of home computers don't have Publisher installed, therefore they wouldn't be able to open them, because it's something that comes on more expensive versions of Office. Would it possibly do the chart? That's something else. Yeah, okay, flags, I'm not getting flags now. Split an observation off into 2 groups. Yeah, I've done that one. Yeah, flags are coming to the app. So the groups for EAL, so if I go into groups very quickly, so again, you need to go into your control panel. And if you wanted to do EAL and SEN and that lot, you can do that from your managed children. And if you, when you're adding them, you can have them added with those. If I go to Elizabeth Stevens, edit them, and you'll see here there's boxes to tick if they're EAL. I can decide if they're free school meals or pupil premium. if they're SEN, what kind, support, and also the areas as well. You can also, if I go to my manage groups, so again, in the manage groups, this is where you could create a group. So I can just go, if I wanted a specific group, so a small group, and I could just quickly tick the names of the children that I want in that group, and that's there like that, and save that. I think it's not going to like it because I've already got a group that called that. Oh no, there you go. So there's that group there. And if you wanted to set them as your key children, so if I created my group, a small group, if I go to manage staff and then manage key children at the top, and then so if I wanted Ian Bennett to have some children, so I'm just going to go to my groups. There's that group I've just created, select them, done, and now Ian's got those children added as key children as well. So yeah, and I think that's when you split an observation, can you then link it? Do you mean send a link to it? They would need to log in to it into Tapestry to be able to. You wouldn't be able to share the URL for that because they would still need to log in. Can you split an observation of 10 children into two groups of 5 and 5? I don't believe so at the moment, no. Is there a way to see observations of certain children, certain groups? Yep, so if you go to your observations page and use your filters at the top, so I wanted to have a look at that small group, so click on filters and then go down to children, this bit here, and then go to groups. So if you created your group for your reception cohort or whatever, click on that and then submit. Children that were in that a small group, and like that. Okay. And I think that's everything there. The child login, I haven't got my notes ready for that. So I'm just going to very quickly go into it because just trying to work out. I've had Christmas holidays. So child login, for those of you who don't know, it means that you can let the children log in without the need of the relative to log in. So if you wanted them to access their journal at home or at school, you can. What you can do is you can set up school computers, first of all, you need to create a page for a new class. So you would click on that. You can do it by group. So if I wanted that small group, and I can choose which children I wanted. I'm happy with all those 4 children, so I'll leave it as all children. Click on that. And then I can decide if I want to show their profile pictures, their first names and their last names. So if I wanted to do all that. And then show children their password. So yeah, so you can choose, depending on how you want to set it like that. So you can choose, get the children to show their password as they type. That's like that. And then, so that just confirms that. And it's going to create a login page for them. Now at this point, I can decide what my password policy for the children is going to be. So if I was, especially if I was with the younger one, I would go for trivial, which is a 1-2 digit number. Having worked with reception, you might even get away with the very weak, which is just 1 word. So just choose that. It needs to create a password for these 2 children because they haven't done it. So I'm going to generate passwords. And it creates it for them, and it's got them there, which you can see. So for Ben Wilson, his password would be pirate, and Tomash is sneeze. Okay, so there's the password. You can keep that as well, just as a reference for you, and click on next, and you can preview the login page, or you can make changes to it. And then you can either log in on this computer or other computers. Now, if I go to the other computers for now, because the chances are it would be on another computer. And does the other computer have a camera? So I'm going to say yes, because I want them to have a QR code. And basically what I can do is I can print that off, can download it as well, print that off, give that to the children, and they would just scan that with a device, and that will take them to their login page. I'm just going to show you what that login page looks like. So if I go back, so this is going to take me out of this. Good job at the end. So this is their login page that it's taking me to. So when they scan their QR code, if you go for that, this is what they see. So if I was Ben Wilson, click on that. Pirate was the password. Logging in. And now I'm logged in as Ben Wilson, the child. And I can see the observations. I can also see any activities that have been added, and I can respond to them as well. So as a child working from home, this might be a really good way of doing it. Right, I think I'm going to stop there because that's everything I had prepared for tonight. As always, though, we've got the group. Please feel free to ask questions. Also, there's customer service, customer.service@eyfs.info. And if this works and is found it useful, I'm happy to do another one. So please do send in questions that you'd like covered, and I can make sure I cover them. But anyway, I hope your first few days back at the new term have been all right for you. And well, good luck with the rest of the term. All right, take care.